Welcome to Bottom Line Builders. And today we have with us JayTrix. Hey JayTrix, how you doing?
I am good. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thanks for coming through, brother. So let's talk about JaySquared Production. And think that's your production company?
Yes.
Tell me, how long is that in existence?
Well, if I think about it, in 2026, it's going to be a decade. Wow. It actually feels like I started the company yesterday, actually.
Look, I think that's how businesses feel, especially when you're an entrepreneur. Feels like your
Yes.
baby, a
Yes.
newborn baby. I mean, it's almost a teenager.
No, definitely. I'll protect this kid at any cost.
100%. Tell me, what inspired you to start your business, and how did your finance, go hand in hand with it? Was there some struggles? Was it easy peasy?
Mm.
Were you spoon fed? In some cases you get that, or what were your struggles going through, to where you are right now?
Look, I think it was 7 years that I worked for a production company, seeing the ins and outs, how much you must spend to make your company a success. Well, success, then again, on the other side of the coin, has different levels to it. Um, but for me, it was more of how do I give the accessibility to those up and coming artists that can't afford. And if we talk about figures here, we're talking about like 20,000 rand, and this is not even per track, this is per session. How do I make that easy? And I was like, okay, fine, let's roll with it, get my studies done. And then eventually I was like, okay, fine, this is my price range because when I thought about JaySquared Productions, I wanted to make sure that the layman person or the normal average person that inspires to be a rapper can afford it. But when speaking numbers and figures, I know for a fact that the common person out there can't afford 20,000 rand. So why don't you charge at the lower rate, to make it feasible, but also make them understand as you climb the ladder, it gets more expensive.
Okay, thanks for that, JayTrix. I was just thinking, I've been watching you for some time, and I was just hoping I could get some behind the scenes from you
Yeah.
in terms of, I know you attend big events, and I always wondered what are the finances that go into these big events. Look, from my side, all I see is lights, speakers, artists, obviously, and a big crowd of
Yeah.
people paying a lot of money to be there. So I always wondered, what are the finances that go into these big events?
Look, these many departments that needs to be covered. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna charge say 250 rand ticket, but remember there's overheads that needs to be covered. So you're gonna spend maybe 150,000 rand or 150k into it because there is the technical crew that needs to get paid. There is the artist that needs to get paid. There is the lighting crew. So many people doing different functions at the end of the day. So you can't look at it at the smallest scale of your overheads or your expenses at the end of the day. I mean, if I think about it, there's also the venue that needs to be paid for, so it comes at a cost because at the end of the day you will get. And I think if, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I think one of your questions obviously would also be like, the different artists. So it depends who you get also, which it can be a newbie, it can be an intermediate, somebody that has what's the common number now, 20k followers on TikTok. But then you get the expert levels of caliber of guys that is artists that has traveled the world. So it's a large amount that you'll be looking for. So that comes all into play where the numbers is concerned, and it's a money factor. Because remember this, and I want to encourage, especially the artists, the up and coming artists. It's not about just singing on the mic and stuff like that. Remember this, and I think this is a nugget. If they can grab this, when you go to a event and you are not well known, don't expect you go in a court for 20,000 rand for a performance. You are not that well known that I'm gonna fork out 20,000 rand just for half an hour performance. At the end of the day, if you are in the category of the Jonathan Butlers, the Lukman Adams, the local guys, but they are internationally known, then you can make your rate at 50k. But don't, just because you're TikTok famous and I'm gonna pay you 20k for your performance.
Oh, no, that's some
This is
serious
big
behind
numbers.
the scenes
Yeah.
and some serious numbers there. And thanks for mentioning some of those local artists. I mean, that is, me thinking back now, a lot of these local artists, they inspired a lot of kids that I can
Yes.
think of today. Uh, Myself, when I was a kid,
Yeah.
you mentioned
So,
Lukman Adams. I used to watch one of the shows called Cutting the Kings, and
yes.
I was amazed by it. So thanks for taking me back in time on that one. So if I may ask,
Yeah.
you've worked with quite a couple of artists. I'm not saying dig into anyone's pockets here,
Mm.
but just on an average, what is your average artist making now in terms of maybe someone that you collaborated with, or artists that you know of? But don't mention names. Just let me know what is the average. On average, what are they making?
Look, on average,
Sorry to break
yeah.
your word. This is for the whoever's watching.
Yes.
That's want to go this route. This is the
Yes.
industry what they're going to, and they like music. They want
Yeah.
to do some rapping. They want to do some funny skits. Kind of thing. What on average can they expect if they're going into this industry?
Look, if I may break it down before I answer that question, um, when and this is also to the artist that is inspired to become professional artists. Average means you haven't made it, but you've traveled a couple of times overseas. You have performed local, but you're not in that league. So, in saying that, your average, your average artist, you're looking plus minus 25 up until 50k a month, realistically speaking, because you're not famous and you're not famous. That's world renowned, but people know you, maybe from your social medias, maybe from doing concerts and stuff like that.
Oh, that's not a bad figure to start out with. I mean, in my opinion.
But it
Um,
depends. It all depends how many gigs you do, because
yeah. Look, hard work pays off, kind of thing. So,
yes,
not be expecting some freebies out there. So
exactly.
that 100%. Look, you have to pay for service. I
Yes.
100% agree with that. Um, just on that note, I just want to go back to where the JaySquared production to adopt that lifestyle, because I know I've noticed with many artists, I see them, they're rapping maybe on the corner, they're rappers. I can
Yeah.
see this is upcoming. Um, but what I notice is what they're struggling with is to adopt the lifestyle, because I've noticed there's a whole big change of lifestyle that comes with
Yeah.
industry, whichever industry it might be.
Yes.
So specifically in the entertainment industry, there's a big change in lifestyle. How do you manage that, going from this person and now you need to kind of divide yourself into different personas or different characters? How does that interfere with your personal life and your business life?
Well, there's two aspects to this. Mainly, number one, it depends on your individual characteristics, and this is what I've always been not preaching, but been saying at the end of the day. It all comes into account as to who you are and your background, how you were raised. I mean, I was raised from a humble background, but I've gotten opportunities to deal with big, big producers, big artists, getting to meet him, and liaise with him and talk to him. Um, but it's all got to do with your characteristics. Then, when you step into the world of being a business type of person, like my pastor always told me in the beginning, if you want to be a business person and be taken seriously, you need to think like a business person. So, breaking that character of being a business person, being in the position of just the artist behind the scenes, it's two different aspects, but you've got to have the positive mindset, man. Sadly, and if I may bring this to you, Jared, some fame is not made for everybody, man. Just to put it, bluntly, fame is not made for everyone. If for everyone, there are a couple of famous people, I went to school with. One of them has your name actually. But at the end of the day, this famous not made for everybody, man. I would always encourage and family on your show. When big numbers comes, when you get a big salary, and you come from a humble background, stay grounded, stay humble.
No. Thanks for JayTrix. Thanks for that. That was all the information I needed to squeeze out to you. But that's all the time we have for today. I hope to have you on the show again. But thanks for pulling through. To everyone at home, thanks for watching. Bottom line, Golders out.